somebody said, getting vexed with the problems of the in-laws, because in-laws are always painted negatively, which I beg to disagree. Somebody said, looking at all the problems of the in-laws, somebody said, well, let us outlaw the in-laws. Let us outlaw the in-laws. Easier said than done. And I would say that if we outlaw the in-laws, we are outlawing the parents, because in-laws of one particular member in the couple are the parents of the other. So therefore, we would go really against the word of God, the fifth commandment, honor your father and mother, if we were to have such an attitude. And I believe that God wants us to basically not only love our neighbor, but more importantly, love our parents. And coming from the whole teaching of the Bible, where God has joined together, what God has joined together, let not more man put asunder. In other words, when a young boy and a girl come into matrimony, come into holy matrimony, come together, become one, I believe that God has given very strict mandate to the entire society and the community. And it says, what God has joined together, let not man put asunder, because they are no longer two, but they are one. So this teaching of becoming one has a huge impact on our attitude towards our in-laws. All right, especially the attitude of in-laws of the girl, especially the attitude of the in-laws of the boy. Both ways it works. So if this new husband and wife are one, that means there is no need to call parents on either side as in-laws, because they are parents now to both of them. Both the new husband and wife, the parents on either side are parents. So in other words, to this new couple, there are two sets of parents, all right? One relatively new set of parents by marriage, but nevertheless, they're parents. Because you are one, you cannot say they're in-laws, they're far away, they're different, I don't have to worry about them, or I don't have to care for them. None of that. Because what God has joined together, let not man put asunder. And the two shall become one and one flesh. Because you're no longer two but one, the parents on both sides are parents. Let's drop the word in-laws. That should be the outlook and the attitude. But in practicality, things can be different. But let us have that attitude. Because on another level, as the Bible says, you love your neighbor. And much more so, more than neighbor, love your parents. So these two commandments of the Lord, honor your father and mother, right? And love your neighbor and love your parents, because you're no longer two, but you're one. So today, many of our problems will be addressed, will have a perspective, if we can look at our in-laws from these two lenses. What are the lenses? Lenses are, they're not my in-laws, because the parents of my husband are my parents. The parents of my wife are my parents, because we are one, because we are called to love them. We're called to honor them. We're called to respect them, so on and so forth. So I want you to broadly have those two big themes from the Bible when we are talking about practical aspects of the in-laws. So let me share my screen. So, relating with parents and in-laws. A lovely cartoon picture, right? Right? Parents and in-laws. One of the important things both the new boy and girl who are married must remember is you come from a particular family, the family of origin. That is, as you're about to build a new family, new husband and wife, and when you have children, a new family, remember both of you come from two sets of parents, your respective siblings, and probably grandparents in your home. The whole ecosystem of the family is your family of origin. So you are not a isolated creation, but you are a creation, you are a product of your family. Your father and mother, your brothers and sisters, your aunts and uncles, grandparents who may be living with you, whoever is living with you, sometimes a full-time maid, all of them put together is a family of origin. Now, if you have experienced relationships of abuse, it is quite likely, if you are not careful, you will bring that baggage into your marriage. If your family has been good, if your family experiences have been generally happy, then you bring a good, happy self into marriage. So remember, in-laws play a big role. Your parents play a big role not only in your life, but also in the life of your spouse. So what are some of the rules that are there in your family of origin? You tend to bring them into your own family. Like rules like, for example, in one particular house, everybody should get up before 6, nothing doing. Or one family would say, oh, all ladies should be up by 5 a.m. All right, if you're getting into a home with those kind of rules, you're in for a shock if you are not one of those people who gets up early. So you have these influences, impacts of your in-laws at this place. So there is one particular family where the girl was expected to get up in the morning and boil the milk, prepare the coffee, and the first person to get the coffee in the house should be the father-in-law. That was a rule. And the girl was not able to understand, why is that I cannot give the first cup to my husband? All right. Now, don't ask me why that rule, but there is a rule like that. Now, should the rules be there? That's a different question. So should such rules be there? That's a cultural question. Should we adhere to it? That's a cultural question. But they are there. I don't want you to be shocked when these things happen. Roles, right? Decision making. Now, no decision will be made unless the father-in-law and the mother-in-law are consulted. Sometimes another sibling can make a huge difference. And I know of a particular family where the girl got married and left, and the boy got married and he brought his wife into the family. And even after the girl went out of the family, that is, a daughter of the family got married and went out, she continued to influence this family, and the decision making of this family really upsetting the new bride that has come into the family, right? So those are some struggles one will face. What about rituals? All right, like I said in the previous sessions, birthdays, anniversaries, and vacations. What would be a Christmas lunch or a Christmas dinner, or what would be an Easter morning ritual in the family? All these things are part of the family of origin. So when youngsters are getting to know each other, or after marriage, what they should get to know is they must know these things. What happened in my family? What is happening in my family? What is expected in my family? they must share with each other. So don't say that nobody told me. It is your responsibility to know. It's your responsibility to tell it to your spouse or would-be spouse and get acquainted and make the adjustments. Otherwise, you will have difficulty. All right. Another thing is, what values would you like to bring to your new family? Well, I would say that values of hard work, values of honesty, values of prayer, uh, disciplines of witnessing, disciplines of Bible study, disciplines of family prayer, values of sharing with poor people. What values would you like to bring to your new family? Because going forward, it is important to give encouragement to the values, the good values in both families, right? Negative values, negative practices, negative rituals, negative cultural impacts automatically make their way, and we have to be very, very careful not to allow them to come. But very intentionally, very purposefully, you should also bring the values which are good in your family, and the new family into which you have come should be open to and willing to accept. We cannot say, oh, in my house, it doesn't happen like this. You should always conform to our family. That is not growing mature in the Lord. What if some good practice is there? Let them come, let them bring it. Let's say, for example, the girl's family always ate together. All right, at least one meal. Let's say the evening meal, they all ate together, father, mother, children. And she has come into this new family. And here, the boy's family, they don't eat together. Suppose she proposes it. I think it will be a good idea for the husband to support her idea and encourage everybody to have a meal together. All right. So what values would you like to bring to your new family? And the values here is communication, fellowship, mutual sharing of life. All right. Jokes, entertainment. All right. Recreation, games. What are the things that you would like to bring? What would you like to change? All right. What would you like to change? Slow and steady, propose, win support, and both of you should be together. So where should the discussion start? In your bedroom. That is the new couple's bedroom. I think we should do this. I think we should change our housemaid because she is really carrying tales from all the places and it is upsetting the peace of the home. All right. We should change the housemaid. It should start from there and check with other members, especially the decision makers. All right. So this is all about communication, all about patience, all about diplomacy and maturity in making changes. All right. Now, how do you feel about living with your in-laws? After this slide, I'm going to stop sharing and then we'll see what are your comments. How do you feel about living with your in-laws? Is it compulsory that you must live with in-laws? The Bible says that for this reason shall a man leave his father and mother, and the two shall they cleave together, and the two shall become one flesh. Is it not biblical that we live by ourselves? What are the biblical teachings on that? Why is my husband insisting that I must go and live with his parents? All right. How do you feel about living with your in-laws? What advantages or disadvantages do you see in living in a home of your own, that is separately, on your own? All right. No parents on either side. And you can have another very unusual situation where what is the advantage or disadvantage of the boy going and living with the girl's family. That is, the father and mother and the girl. Gar jamai bolte na hum log. So what does the Bible say anything about it? All right. These are the important questions you need to discuss as you're preparing for marriage, and then, if possible, resolve these issues before you get married. So these are very important questions, because going forward, when we are having conflicts, some of the major conflicts come because of misunderstanding between the young couple and the in-laws or the parents on both sides. All right. So what are your views on this? All right. What are your comments? What do the young people think of living with in-laws? What are the advantages? What are the disadvantages? What would you prefer? All right. Any comments? I hope my question is clear. What I'm asking is that in-laws are painted in a negative light all the time. But I said that according to the Bible, very clearly, they are no longer in-laws, but they are two sets of parents to the new couple, because the new couple are one. They cannot view the parents on the other side as in-laws. While we have that view, there are practical challenges. Then the questions that I asked are, what are the advantages of, or the disadvantages of living with in-laws? And what is your view? Okay. So one of you is saying, I think I would prefer to not stay with my in-laws because it gives me and my husband the space to learn more about each other. We could have certain constraints with them living with us. Absolutely. Very rightly. And many young people think this way because our outlook of marriage has changed quite a bit. Our outlook of marriage is colored by some of the Bollywood and the Hollywood spirit. I'm not saying necessarily about the person who has asked it, not at all, but we are products of our culture. We hear stories negatively. Very few times we hear good, positive stories and saying, oh, my mother-in-law, my father-in-law are so good. And I've never heard a story where they said, my in-laws are better than my parents. I've always heard that my in-laws are bad, my sister-in-law is bad, or my brother-in-law is no good. You know, we hear the stories, but we never hear the stories saying that the family that I entered into is much better than my family that I come from. So is that not a possibility? It is a possibility. Let us be very realistic about it. So what are the advantages? One of the things that is being mentioned by this person is that because it gives me and my husband the space to learn more about each other. It is true that there is a constraint within the family. Physical space, for example. The only way you can have a private conversation with your spouse in a small house is within the four walls of your bedroom. And the spouse sometimes feels very hesitant to get into the bedroom, leaving everybody in the drawing room, thinking that, array, this fellow is changing. What will they think? They will think that I have changed completely and become my wife's slave. So he has that huge negative idea about it. And very rarely they can go out, because again, going out, leaving everybody is not seen well. But then you need to take permission to do that. Now, what does the Bible say? The Bible says a newly married couple is exempt from the duties of war for 1 year. Even when the country is at war, a newly married couple is exempt. The newly married man is exempt from going to war. And therefore, the families must exempt the newly married couples from some constraints. If they want to go into the room and talk, let them go and talk. If they want to go out and go for a stroll, have a cup of coffee, or go to a garden, spend time, let them go, so that they can get to know each other and they can become, bonding together happens beautifully. So if that happens, think about it. If the new family that you're getting into, think about it. Would it not be helpful? Is your concern not addressed? All right. So there could be some constraints, true. And if you're able to communicate and overcome constraints, would that help? All right. So the new family must also think that according to the Bible, the new couple must be given abundant space, encouragement. All right. If necessary, even for some time, just the rest all go for a vacation and give them home, that kind of a thing. Whatever is practical, whatever is possible. All right. So one public question that is being asked is, being with parents is sometimes good if they are supportive to us in our decision making and taking care of kids, but might be difficult if they dominate the new couple in decision making. So absolutely, very rightly said. So what is the responsibility of the young people? The young couple must have a conversation and said, and the parents on either side must give them freedom to make decisions and make choices, because they are a new entity, a new godly, God-created entity. Should be no interference. Forget about domination. No interference with the basic conversations and decisions that young couple make. So if any parents are listening, any mentors, leaders are listening, we must convey this message to the parents and not allow them to dominate. Forget about domination. We should not even interfere. All right. Suppose they are planning honeymoon. Let them make their own choices. Don't influence them. You can give options and say, well, if you want to go to Ooty, I know a friend who can give you a cottage at a very concessional rate. That's your option. All right. It's entirely up to you. If you're planning to go to Manali and splurge your money, it's up to you. All right. But don't force saying that, why can't you go here? You can save money and those kind of things. All right. And then one of you said, if they can take care of the kids, we are coming to it. We are coming to it. Hold on. That is a very important benefit. Let's see what we can do. All right. Another person is saying, we have responsibilities on health and financial aspects of parents. If it's possible for me to do my responsibilities in both issues, is it okay for me to stay far from my parents? If I can fulfill my responsibilities along with my spouse regarding my parents, I think I prefer to stay with my parents. Very balanced, very well thought through. And like perhaps I said in the previous episodes, again, tagging on to my opening remarks, look upon parents on either side as parents, not in-laws, right? And then here, we have responsibilities on health and financial aspects of parents. Let this be known in the beginning. What are the responsibilities? Do they have a pension? Do they do not have a pension? Are they dependent on us financially for health, for day-to-day expenses, for what expenses? All right. So whether you live with them or not, financial information is a very important aspect. And if you want to live separately, you must look out for them, inquire after them, visit them, and keep them in the information loop. And that kind of a responsibility is there. If you live with them, there is an adjustment of privacy and things like that. If you live far away, you have a responsibility of keeping them informed and visiting them, so on and so forth. Okay. So one of you is saying, I think I prefer living with in-laws. I know there are problems with them, but it is in every relationship, even with the husband too. Very realistic. Okay, but where there is Christ, things get better. So I will prefer to make Jesus the center of new relationship and live with them. All right. Now, I believe that this person is really going to make a very positive influence in the home that this person is going to go into. And therefore, I believe that such an attitude will really go a long way in preparing you to be living with in-laws. So good discussion, good sharing. Let me continue my presentation. So what advantages or disadvantages do you see living in a home of your own? Privacy. That is a big advantage. What is the advantage? You don't have to look out for others. You're just going to be looking out for each other. But then I also said, what about parents you left and came? Suppose they are all by themselves. There are no other children to take care of them. What then? If there are children living with them, fine. All that is required of you is to keep them informed how you're doing, inquire after them, how they're doing, and good deal, right? Good deal. That you are keeping them informed, inquiring after them, and you have your privacy. But there is a huge responsibility. Running a home is not easy, right? You need to, look out for a housemate. You need to make arrangements with the milk person. You need to take responsibility of the grocery shopping. You need to take responsibility of cooking. Whether you cook or have a cook, responsibility is still yours. At the end of the day, everything that makes for running a home is both your job. If both of you can share your responsibilities and make those things happen, yes, it is a good decision. So you see, for privacy and for a space of independence, are you able to take this responsibility? Keep that in mind. You have to entertain guests. You have to invite your parents and your families on either side. All those things can happen. But you know what? Some youngsters are very, very foolishly smart. Now, why do I say foolishly smart? They say, we will live separately, but tell the parents, you cook and send the food to us. My goodness. So now they've converted their parents into dabbawalas. In Bombay, there are dabbawalas. What are the dabbawalas? They deliver lunch. So some youngsters even go to the extent of making that happen. That means you're not mature. That means you're not honoring your parents. That means, occasionally when parents send it, fantastic. Occasionally, you should also be sending it to parents. That should be the level of maturity. Otherwise, I am not in the strictest sense, in the true sense, honoring them, but I am using them. I'm using them. So that is not right. All right. If you want to live by yourselves, you got to count your responsibility and make sure you're up to that task. All right. So after marriage, what demands do you think your parents are likely to make? All right. The role of parents in your marriage. What are the demands? All right. Now, let me tell you, I have heard so many stories from so many parents. Their demands are very simple. All right. Their demands are very simple. I just want the young couple to say, occasionally ask me, how am I doing? I just want them to inform me what is going on in their life. Sit sometimes and converse with me. They just want that security that if something happens to me, my children are there. When I say children, both the son and the daughter-in-law, who is now daughter. I have my daughter and my son-in-law, who is now my son. So they want to know that at a call, I can have them. At a shout, I can have them. At a request, I can have them and their service. After one marriage, what demands do you think your parents are likely to make? Please let your would-be know, or let your new wife or new husband know. What are the expectations? If it not demands, at least the expectation. All right. Now, let me give you a simple example. Many couples, nowadays, of course, all international travel is down, but many couples, when they come for a vacation from America, Europe, Middle East, who are living there, but they're coming back for home for vacation, their biggest question is, where should we go first? And in some young couples, I've seen big problems because husband is saying, well, we are going to our home. We will decide when and how, for how many days we will go to your house. That means the girl is wondering whether we will go or not. The girl is wondering, how many days will my husband allow me to go or allow us to go? Will he allow me to take my children? No, whole lot of questions. So what are the demands that our parents are making? What are their expectations? Okay. What do you think about depending on your parents financially? Now the reverse, the role reversal, the tables are turned. All right. Here we said, what are the demands? Maybe financial, maybe emotional, maybe physical, maybe, care and concern. These are the demands parents could make after your marriage. But what is it going to be? What do you think about depending, that is you as a young couple, depending on your parents? I'll stop there because there is a very important discussion here. All right. And the discussion is, this connects to our first session. When is a boy ready to marry? When is a girl ready to marry? The discussion is, I have seen many Christian marriages happening where the boy is not working. The boy is loosely in some sort of a ministry. And the boy is very loosely in some sort of a business. Is there anybody who's boy or girl thinking of getting married, especially when boy is not married? Or even the girl, for example, I like this guy. He is not working, he'll work later. And he's saying he's some in business, but he's never paid the bill for coffee when we went out. And he's, some sort of a ministry, but never ever saw money. These kind of very gray, statuses of youngsters, and both of them thinking, our parents will support us and let's get married. And later on, we can find job. The ministry will improve. Business will improve. Today, if you're not able to earn a sustainable salary or income from business, or a regular support from ministry, even by faith, then am I misusing my parents? Am I depending on my parents and robbing them of their independence, financial independence and financial facility? We must be careful if the youngsters are thinking. Sometimes because of the marriage pressure, many times, elders also give in to that pressure. saying, okay, you get married, we will support you for 6 months. And in the meanwhile, you can get jobs. Now, that may seem like a faith step. But what happened? What happened so many years that you had time? Why is that you could not work hard and get a job, grow in ministry, grow in business? Let us not get any kind of a shame to the families and God. And what happens over a period of time? Human nature is such that if somebody is supporting without asking questions, what happens when you go to a job? They will ask 101 questions, call you for account for the work that you're doing, and then they will pay you salaries. But parents, no questions. If they are supporting you, no questions. So what is the human nature? I'm getting support without any questions. I will take it bindas. I'll take it easy and go on continuing. I'll tell you, dozens of nurses, okay, many of our Christian families have nurses, teachers among them. Dozens of nurses and teachers, their husbands are not working, I know, and are not able to support family. And unfortunately, or fortunately, I don't know, but government jobs today, like a nurse or a teacher, if you're getting government salaries, you get a fantastic salary. And the husband saying, we can live on it. Now, is that a right thing? Is that a right thing? And they get into all sorts of abuses thereafter. Okay, the husband becomes insecure and starts controlling his wife, and the wife does not know what to tell everybody what the husband is doing, and he is nowhere in the picture. There is a wedge that comes between husband and wife. All those things come. So it is important. So let me invite you again to answer or respond or comment and say, is it all right to marry when the man is not working? Man is not getting a steady salary, a steady income from business. There's nothing wrong in being in business. There are ups and downs in business, but can he sustain his family? So specifically, I'm asking the young couple, should they be dependent on parents after marriage? Should they marry thinking that the parents will support? Is that a good idea? Should they marry saying that after marriage we can get job? What is the role of parents here? Any comments, any questions? Yes, one of you is saying that no, not having a job that pays is a sign of not having a vision, uncle, and that's scary. Yes, right? It's better to wait than to walk in a rush into that kind of a marriage. Any other? Yeah, the topic of parents, the topic of money is quite challenging, isn't it? Many of you, it's almost deathly silence today. All right. All right. Let me give you another scenario. Somebody is saying, oh, I don't have a good enough job to get married. I don't have a good enough job to get married. And therefore, they're waiting for the dream job to get married. I think even that is not right. When is enough, right? That also you should be careful and not go overboard and keep postponing because uh, because uh, there's nothing like a dream job, because every job has its own challenges. Say you may get a dream job, but you will be transferred somewhere else and high cost of living. All right. So that is again a challenge. All right. So we need to be able to look at biblical principles of contentment with godliness is great, and start small. All right. Start small and grow as the Lord blesses you. Okay.
Anna, there is one question here. Can I ask you, Anna?
Right. Sure.
If one is in full-time ministry, the
Yeah.
other can the other provide by doing a job?
Of course. I mean, there's nothing wrong. Nothing wrong. This is all family finances. Yes. To the question that Abhiyan has asked, nothing wrong in supporting the family, whether it is a full-time ministry or a so-called secular job. All jobs are ministry for me. All jobs are God's calling for me because I am there as God's agent and witness. Okay, we'll have the discussion some other time. Just because somebody is in full-time ministry does not mean that that is not a paying job. But my point is that person, when he or she is in a full-time ministry, is that ministry paying him, supporting him. If you don't like the idea of word paying, supporting him regularly. That will support his family. Tomorrow, I'll tell you, there are so many people who go into ministry by faith, and they go into remote parts of the country as missionaries. And many of their children are in certain homes in the south. And these children hardly see their parents. Okay, that is may not be applicable to you. But these children, when they come to schools, they cannot go to proper schools. When they want to study professional courses, they don't have fees to pay for it. Now, you know what? Many children of these missionaries have hated the religion, have one or two or a handful of them have become even atheists, and uh, quite a few children have started to hate their parents because they never could spend enjoyable time with the parents, or parents did not create that because of wrong understanding of ministry. So my point is, ministry does not mean that you do ministry without any financial support. I want you to remember that. Paul, for example, has been a tent maker. He supported himself. Peter and other apostles were supported by money that was raised, and they had no lack. Now, when a father in urban situations, like in our situation, he does not earn a salary, the salary that is available to the parents, to the family, is just the mother's salary. Nothing wrong. But so far, nothing wrong. But let me tell you, who makes the decisions of the finances? Very few find it harmonious, good in there to control the finances, the guy to control the finances. Now, sometimes they go to the other extreme and control the finances of the girl also and not give money to them. So those things come. Now, children, for example, they grow and get to know father does not get any money, only mother gets money. They get a wrong understanding. And things can go wrong. All right. So I'm all for ministry. I'm all for ministry. But don't say, well, I'm going preaching here, I'm going spending time there, and that is ministry. So many families have suffered because of that. Because when God calls, what is the Old Testament teaching? Do not muzzle a treading ox. A treading ox is at liberty to eat what it is treading. Do not muzzle a treading ox. A laborer is worthy of wages. When there is no wages, it is exploitation. And that is happening. And that should not happen in a Christian family. So the point that I'm making is, yes, the man of the house must know what it means to provide for the family. A woman of the house must know what it means to make what is available for the family to really become a blessing in whatever form. If it is less, how can she manage? If it is more, how can she not only manage but support and give, and so on and so forth. All right. I have a beautiful comment here. All right. I have a beautiful comment here. Both of us are working, uncle. Our in-laws still support us financially. We use our salary to save. We now have big savings because of this. Give me your number, ma. I'm just kidding. Excellent, excellent. But I would also say to this family, I'm sure you are a giving family, and set goals. What are the goals that you want to do? All right. Set goals for your savings and be prudent in your this thing. So stay blessed and bless others, and really, really bless many people. All right, go ahead, and that's fantastic. I have no problem with that. And if your in-laws are happy to support you, if they're happy to see that you're saving and everything is hunky-dory, absolutely no problem. But the primary concern that I had is fulfilled in your family, that both of you are working. Even if you are one working and parents are supporting and everything is going well, excellent. All right. I'm not necessarily saying both of you should work, but man has an important role to play unless you bought into this whole idea of house husband. Okay. That's a very rare thing. It is seen in reality shows, and in real life, it's very rare. So we will have a discussion on that some other time. All right. Okay. Another one is, is God direct to marry a person who is not doing job but searching for it? I have no problem if you're considering this person, because this person is fulfilling various other non-negotiables we discussed last time. But I would recommend that you wait till this person finds a job. All right. And if he's taking too long, that's a red flag for you. Wait. If you still can wait and age is on your side, wait. But if it is taking too long, ask God to direct you, guide you. Recent in a maintenance case, the husband was asked to pay maintenance to his wife, though he mentioned he was not working. The court mentioned the husband to prove for the wife either by beg, borrow, or steal. So I think the boy should be working on a, hey, this I didn't know. I didn't know that such a case came up, and the court granted or ordered maintenance even though he was not working. Beg, borrow, or steal. I mean, I'm sure steal may not have said, but beg or borrow perhaps. All right.
I have a question, Anna, here.
Yes, yes.
If my parents demand me to give both our salaries to spend for them, how to go about this?
Say that again, sorry.
If our parents demand
Ah,
both our salaries to spend for them, how to go
yeah.
about this?
To spend for them.
Yeah.
I see. Okay. I don't know what it is, I mean, because this is a serious question. I'm just wondering what the person or the couple means by saying spend both our salaries, spend for them. If it is supporting for some expenses, I believe it is good. Now, there are some families where the new couple are happy to give their salaries to the parents, and that is the parents with whom they are living. And the parents are very happy to generously give money whenever they want, for whatever they want, and great communication, great understanding, no problem. I'm not saying anything on that. But in principle, the young couple must have freedom. The young couple must learn to take responsibility. The young couple must have the joy of living a good married life with a certain amount of independence and decision making and enjoying, like I mentioned earlier. All right. But if it is taking away and not giving you money, I think both the young couple must have a conversation with the parents and say, it is not biblical. It is not biblical. So basically, what they're saying is, both of you are kids. We want you to remain kids. And when we die, you can grow up. That is what they're saying, which is not right. All right. Okay. I'm glad one of you is saying the ministry I serve is a full-time ministry. And it says that we should marry within the ministry only, so that we may share the same faith in spirit and keep on supporting each other in same way. Is it okay? Now, I don't know the role of the parents here. It's basically between the two of you. I know it's a private question, and then you have not mentioned the name of the ministry. That is fine. There are some ministries which make it a point that you should not marry within the ministry. That also there's some ministries say. All right. Each has got their own advantages and disadvantages. I do not want to comment on a ministry policy because you're working there. So I don't want to make a comment there because it may be misunderstood. So I just don't want to comment on that. Okay, how to deal with wife's salary. If parents demand me to give the wife's salary too, along with mine, how to balance this? Now, this is what I'm not, I want you to be careful to have a conversation with the family. Why are they asking from both of you? Are you people so spendthrift that you're spending away all the money? I'm just inquiring. Or are the parents controlling both of you through money? Right? So either these are two extremes and both of them are not good. I have no problem if the parents want to manage the house and so on and so forth, it is good. But as long as both of you have financial independence, both of you know what is happening with the family finances, that is a good environment. Transparency is a good environment. All right. So parents play a big role in the happiness of the new couple. New couple must gently, carefully have dialogue and conversation to win that. And some of this is good to have it before marriage. In India, you know what they say? Amma pillaina ka anta marpoindu. And the parents, you know, शादी के बाद पूरा बदल गया ये. अरे बदलना चाहिए. All right? It must change. That's a new entity. So parents must respect. But since you as youngsters, you are attending, all that I will say is respectfully, cordially, honorably, have conversations, patiently talk to them, and get your independence. All right? No fighting, no dishonoring them. All right? Show them how it works. All right? Sometimes parents just want that security. Okay, let me share my screen from here. Okay, so what do you think about depending on your parents financially? So let me just share one point here. And that is, suppose at the time of marriage, the husband had a good job or a good business or good in ministry, and suddenly the pandemic happened. And so the husband lost the job, or the wife, whose responsibility? It is not his carelessness or laziness or incompetence or anything. No, at that point of time, there must be a solid support from the wife, solid support from everyone. Because this man, this young man has always been hardworking. This young man has always been conscientious. He should never be made to feel bad about the loss of job. He must be honored. He must be encouraged and said, take a break. All right. Retool yourself. Do a good course. Maybe you can get a better job. Maybe this has happened for our good. All right. So look at from God's perspective, spiritually, emotionally, financially, support that person because for no fault of his, he lost his job. So don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that a man without job is some sort of a misfit or devil's agent or anything like that. Not at all. But I'm saying man taking wearing the pants and taking the responsibility, working hard, these are the virtues that we see in God the Father, we see in in role models of the Bible, we see in the role models of society, we see that a man is endowed with that kind of a capacity to provide for the family. When that DNA is neglected, does not spell good for marriage. That's all I'm saying. But through the marriage, there are ups and downs. Business fails sometimes. Ministry is for some seasons not able to pay salary. That is all right. Support, support, support. All right. So both parents should support. Whoever can support must support. Wife must make the husband feel absolutely comfortable, right? Not so that he doesn't feel bad. Take care that children don't say anything out of their immaturity. Okay. So at that time, yes, depend on parents. Parents are there to support you. All right. If they can support, receive the support. All right. So that should be the love and Christian spirit. All right. Relating with in-laws. All right. I said not to use the word in-laws, but then it's a reality. Now that's what the reality we are looking at. Would you agree that honoring parents is doing what they say always? Do you agree with this statement? What do you think? Okay, I'll just go on. Then parents should help with childcare. I said I will talk about it. Parents should help with childcare. Is it a must and should? All right, we'll talk about that. Parents have the right to live on their own terms. In other words, some parents today are saying, we don't want you. You go and live on your own. We want to have now our privacy, our freedom. We want to travel. We want to do what we were not able to do all our lives. Now, some parents are beginning to say that. So, do you agree? Parents have the right to live on their own terms. Or are you saying, oh, now we are married, now we have children, it is your responsibility to take care of our children or their grandchildren? Couples should make decisions after discussion with their in-laws. Would you agree to that? Couples should respect parents. All right? I hope you have no problem with that. All right? Couples should respect with their parents on both sides. Couples should report day-to-day activities to parents, whether you live with them or away from them. Couples should report day-to-day activities to parents. So remember these statements. What are the things that you agree with? What are the things that you don't agree with? What do you think? Yeah. Should I share the screen again? Right. Honoring parents is doing what they say always. So probably I should underline the word always. Parents should help with childcare or must help with childcare. Parents have the right to live on their own terms. Couples should make decisions after discussion with in-laws, parents on either side. Couples should respect parents. Couples should report day-to-day activities to parents. All right. So, what are your thoughts? Yeah. So, honoring is to listen to them. Honoring is to be able to have a meaningful dialogue and conversation. Honoring to say that, please allow us to make this decision instead of saying, we are doing it whether you like it or not. That is not honoring. So as somebody said, it is not what you say that matters, but how you say it. All right? It is not what you say that matters, really matters, but how you say it. So as youngsters, honoring is to relating to them with respect, relating to them with politeness, relating to them with patience, relating to them with wisdom, but asserting at the same time. Asserting is not dishonoring. All right? So I just wanted to clarify that. Okay, one of you is saying, I agree that we should honor parents always, except when they are saying something against Bible, all right, and should respect parents at all times. Good. Okay, what are the things that are against Bible? What are the things that are against Bible? That's a big question. All right, that's the big question. In one family I know, the sister of the boy said, Are, you are going and telling everything that we are discussing back to your wife. You should not say everything. You must keep secrets from your wife. Now, would you say that that is going against the Bible? Yes, one of you is saying superstitions, considering days, caste issues, etc. Now, absolutely, they are against Bible. But then, suppose, they have, your parents have decided to construct a house. Let's say they're looking for a good day. You can have a conversation. Let them know your thoughts. Why are you looking at this particular day? Every day is blessed by God. Let us choose a day that is convenient to all of us. But then, for whatever reason, because of their own fears, they say, no, only today, do that. After you have explained to them, I believe you go and honor them, because nothing is going to happen to you, or pray even that nothing will happen to them. After you explain, honor them by going. Don't say you have fixed on a date and time by looking at that calendar, that star's calendar. We are not going to come. Don't say that. Okay? Because parents are very important. House and that is not important. Parents are very important. One of the questions is said, if the wife has a full-time calling from God, and if my parents are an hindrance to us, how to obey God and honor parents in this issue? Again, I said, very good question. I think both of you should be able to explain to your parents, how did you get that call? How do you explained to them your conviction? Have you included them in prayer as you were thinking about full-time ministry? Did you ask them to pray for you? Or suddenly came and announced saying that I'm going to resign my job and I'm going into full-time ministry? Now, very important. And is this full-time ministry that the girl or the wife is going into, is it non-paying full-time ministry or paying full-time ministry? All right. Now, is this full-time ministry going to make her absent at the house at the needed times? Is she going to not fulfill some responsibilities at home? Now, such fears and anxieties must be clarified. They will not simply say, don't go into full-time ministry. They have very practical considerations, and you must be able to convince them. You must be able to prove to them. If you are not able to prove to your own parents, what is the point of going and doing ministry when you are having a contention here? As long as it takes, wait for them to also come around. All right. How are you going to fulfill the chores at home? All right. If your ministry is going to demand that you are away all the evening, then that's a problem. Right. So how are you going to fulfill that? All right. Okay. You may hire a servant and ensure it, but are you going to take the responsibility? Why don't you convince your in-laws with that? All right. So they are not a hindrance. God has put you over them. Deal with them honorably. Finally, take your decision. Okay. My father was looking out for a girl for me as a spouse. Even though I have confronted him and he says it's a misunderstanding, I still feel scared bringing a wife into my home. I feel uncomfortable talking to him about anything concerning my marriage. How can I honor my father and bring him into my decision making in this situation? I had toned down the question earlier. Let me read as it is because it is a serious thing. My father made moves on a girl. He was looking for me as a spouse, right? So the father is having wrong intentions about the girl, but he wanted to bring that girl as a spouse for his own son. Even though I've confronted him and he says it's a misunderstanding, I still feel scared bringing a wife into my home. I feel uncomfortable talking to him about anything concerning my marriage. How can I honor my father? And I'm not sure if you have your mother. I think you should share with your mother. And if your mother is not able to help, I think if the grandparents are there, you can have a conversation. And finally, you must have an honest, straightforward, quote unquote, confronting conversation with your father and say, for this reason, I don't feel comfortable. So I'm going to get married and move out. And wherever support is needed, you can do that. Okay. But it is important that you feel safe, and the girl who is going to come as your wife must also feel safe. Okay. It's a tough situation. I hope God will give you wisdom and courage to take your stand. Sometimes girls tend to have a long conversation with mother after marriage as a part of a habit. Many a times it is misunderstood. What is the role of a husband in this time? Let me tell you one thing, or to all, irrespective of this question. Love, the practical expression of love is communication. The practical expression of communication is the amount of time that you spend with the person, talking, listening to that person. If you are not able to spend time and communicate with your husband and with the family with whom you're living, and you're spending more time with your mother and your family who are not living with you, that is not a right thing. It's not a right thing. And a, a boy or a girl is not required to make a daily report and submit to the parents on either side. Today, you don't have time to even live for your own marriage, for your own family. There's so much of lack of time. And when you, in spite of that, make it, there is an emotional demand on you. And when you have invested that emotional energy in your family, that is the family of origin, you are not able to have emotional energy to give to your spouse and to your own children and to your in-laws that you live with. So set clear boundaries, set clear loyalties. Information is different from making it an obligation to report everything to the family. And what happens? Reporting does not say stay reporting. They will have their own views. And there are huge struggles. You want to try and make everybody happy. You want to please everyone by taking everybody's advice into consideration. That's why I said the new husband and wife must have the freedom to make decisions. All right. Okay, let me continue to share the screen. Good discussion. All right, thank you. Then another set of agreements or disagreements. Would you agree? Couple be considerate to parents. Sorry, would you agree? Couples should be considerate of parents. Marital conflicts should be discussed privately with your spouse. Don't make it a family affair. Couples should spend quality time with parents. Do you agree with that? Okay, I'll read again. Couples should be considerate of parents. Marital conflicts should be discussed privately with your spouse. And couples should spend quality time with parents. It's not, when it is said quality time, it's not the amount of time. It is not the frequency of meetings. It is not the amount of time on the phone, but quality time is to make it count. When you go to visit, switch off the phone and talk to them, listen to them, do stuff for them. When you go there and then still be on phone, what is the point? So in that sense, couples should spend quality time with parents. Would you agree? Marital conflict should be discussed privately with your spouse. Quite a few times, women particularly talk about their husbands to everybody. When two women get together, a common topic is about husband. Now, if you have not already discussed with the husband, it's not a good practice to throw it open outside. And that way, the husband should not discuss about wife with sisters-in-law, his sisters or his parent side without discussing with the wife herself. Both ways it works. Couples should be considerate of parents. Considerate, as we said, think of them, include them, share with them, all right, appropriately, and in a way they feel understood and accepted. Okay. So what are your thoughts on that? Would you agree with those statements? By the way, one aspect of the previous slide I did not cover, or it did not come in the discussion, and that is, the previous slide is this. What is that? Parents should help with childcare. Would you agree? All right. And then parents have the right to live on their terms. So what do you think about that? What are the challenges? Nowadays, young mothers have such huge expectations about their children. And what are the expectations I'm talking about? Diet, other hobbies, and other things. Now they have a certain expectation and they want the in laws to follow that exactly. I have nothing wrong with that. If the in laws are in a place to do it, have the capacity to do it, well and good. But otherwise, can you demand of them? There are a lot of issues there. And the wife comes back and complains to the husband and saying, well, your parents don't look after our children very well. It's true. Sometimes parents look after the daughter's children well and not the son's children. That also happens. But like I said, there are some advantages, there are some disadvantages. But then, you as a young couple, you should be clear in your mind. What is the role of parents in bringing up children? All right? So one of you is saying, parents should take time to take care of their children, unless and until required, not to be taken care by in-laws. I'm afraid I don't know if I've understood it correctly. Parents should take time to take care of their children, grown-up children or grandchildren, unless and until required, not to be taken care by. Oh, got it. The young couple must take care of their own children, and parents and in-laws should come into picture, that is grandparents should come into picture only at the request of the parents. Yes, I got it. That's a good one. So in other words, what I hear is that you are going to take responsibility for your children. That's good. All right. And whatever help you're seeking, you can seek help, but not throw complete responsibility on grandparents. Okay, that's a good thing. All right. What about the second one? That is, in-laws or parents have every freedom to live life on their own terms. One of you is saying, yes, they have every freedom to live on their own terms. Wonderful. Let me tell you, going forward, it's going to happen more and more. What do I mean by that? And that is, the youngsters will become more and more financially independent. The grandparents or in-laws, that is the parents and in-laws, are going to become more and more financially independent, and their expectations would increase, and there is going to be that expectation that we need to take care of ourselves, enjoy our life after the children are married. So that will be there. It will come. Perhaps your generation, you will think like that going forward. Okay. So what if the husband doesn't respond to in being considerate to girl's mother, in supporting her financially? Mother is a widow. That is a very, very, very sorry state of affairs. I believe the husband must read the Bible very carefully. If he is not able to take care of his own household includes both families on either side, his religion is a waste. Yes, a widowed mother is the first priority to be taken care of outside of the family. Outside of the family means the young couple and the children. Thereafter, the mother must form a priority. All right. So that is, of course, if she's living separately, but if she's living, with the family, it's not a big thing. So it is biblical for the young couple to support the widowed mother, either side, whether it is the husband's mother or the girl's mother. It should not make a difference. There must be support. That is the Bible. That is the Christian religion. So, okay. So what is the point of not supporting, taking care of, providing for the household, and thinking about being Christian or even in Christian activities? All right. Okay. All right. So let me continue to share my screen. We finish that. We finish this. All right. Then let us, very practical tips now. All right. First and foremost, both the young couple, the boy and the girl, or the new husband and wife, the young couple, you are a team. What is the simple meaning of the team? We are members of the team. We are equal. We are supporting each other. We understand each other. And we must look out for each other and look out for what is important to each other, honor each other. You are a team. All right. We are weak sometimes, so the other person supports. When the other person is weak, this person supports. You are a team. All right. So bring your strengths together and make it work for you. You are a team. Second, treat both set of parents fairly according to their needs, and no partiality, no, I would say, no, even as youngsters, you should not dominate your parents. All right, just as you don't want your parents to dominate you, when they become weak, when they are vulnerable, you should not dominate them. All right, so treat both sets of parents fairly. Third, don't criticize parents. Okay, make suggestions, make helpful comments, but don't criticize parents and say, well, you're good for nothing. Why did you raise us like this? What did you provide? What did you say? Don't criticize like this. God is listening to these things. I have seen children beat, kick their parents when the parents were, what is that? Telugulo ఒక పదం ఉంది, చాదస్తం. That is rigid, bent on doing things in a particular way. When they were not parting with their savings. Children beating parents, slapping, pushing, ill-treating, grabbing money from their hands. I tell you, that should never be heard in Christian families. God is watching. In the Old Testament, when the dishonoring of parents attracted the penalty of death, be careful. We are answerable for every word that we speak against parents, but we have a free freedom to have a conversation, convince them, persuade them, and then, take appropriate decisions. Take interest in your parents. That is, inquire after them. Look after their needs. Remember their special days. All right, celebrate them. All right, they would like to meet their own friends. Create those opportunities. They would like to spend time with their own contemporaries. Make those things happen. All right. So that's a huge ministry. The ministry is right there in your home. All right, make it happen. Don't carry all problems to your parents. You're now an independent couple. You're mature. You need to take them to God first. All right. Like I said last time, have mentors, take your problems to them, and don't burden your parents too much because they're also scared. They're anxious. They want to see you happy. They don't want to see you unhappy. They don't want to see you fighting, arguing. Their emotional strengths have come down. They want a peaceful time. So take your problems to your mentors, to your pastor, and sort it out. If parents are to be confronted, their own child to do the talking. All right? As a principle, if the parents of the boy are not giving that freedom or being, unreasonable, who should confront them? The boy itself. All right? The boy itself. And when the girl's parents are not cooperative, who should confront them? The girl. All right? That is as a principle. Sometimes the spouse is better than the child itself. So give the freedom to the spouse to speak because they may be more mature. All right? So these are some of the practical tips that you can keep in mind. All right? I'll stop sharing if there are any comments or discussions. All right? You can do that.
There's one question. Can I read,
Yes.
Anna?
Yes, Abhi.
If the sibling is the reason for conflict between couple, how to
Hmm.
resolve the issue with my spouse and continue to love and forgive my sibling? Similarly, how to avoid gossip and rumors by some backbiting relatives, cunning old people?
Yeah. I think let me respond to the first one. In both the cases, the principle is to take the bull by its horns. Pray all you can, definitely. That's a principle we should never ever stop. Pray that God intervenes and changes situation. Thereafter, God expects you also to take action. And what is the action? If the sibling is creating a problem, it is a good idea to talk to the sibling and saying what you're saying or doing is affecting me or affecting our marriage. Please stop doing it. That is one way of dealing with it. And when you want to take it up, you can discuss with your spouse first and then take it up with the matter so that the husband knows what is happening. Then, why is it that it is important that you go directly to the sibling and talk? Because you want to protect and respect the privacy and the honor of that person. Suppose 2, 3 people go, or both of you go, then it is kind of putting the other person in a wrong light, bad light. So let the first person, that is whoever is affected, suppose a girl is being, uh, uh, you know, is hurting, then let the young wife go and talk to the sibling of the husband and say, look, what you're doing or saying is hurting me, don't do it. If she does not listen, he or she does not listen, then both husband and wife must talk. That confrontation should settle the matter because many times the siblings will say, oh, our brother takes our side. Who are you? You have come from outside and things like that. Because again, the concept of Christian marriage is not understood very clearly. The parents have not made it clear to the other siblings. So they take advantage. So when both of them go, then it should stop. Generally, it should stop. Okay, that is my first response to the first question. What is the second one, Abhi, again?
The second one is Similarly, how to avoid gossip and rumors by some backbiting relatives, cunning old people.
Right, right. So that you cannot stop. They will speak whatever they speak. But suppose somebody is coming and saying, so and so aunt or so and so grandmother or uncle or grandfather has said this, tell that person, can you do me a favor? Shall we both go and talk to that person and say, look, you know, this is what, you know, you're saying. Now, either the person who has come is scared because this person who's coming and taking the rumor and other things is also perhaps adding masala or taking vicarious pleasure of sharing that rumor, because rumor and all that is usually in the negative light, not good things. So first scare the person who's getting the rumor. Shall we go and talk to that person who told you? Then they will say, no, 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 don't take my name. Then if you don't want your name to be taken, don't even talk about it. That person will think several times before gossiping next time. Then second step is go and talk to the person who this person has said, like the grandmother or uncle or aunt, and say, I heard this from someone. Is it true? If the person has courage, they will say yes, but usually they will not own up to it. No, 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 I didn't say that. Now, they will also next time think several times before they say anything. So, in other words, go and confront the issue and always do it together. Both of you do it together. Don't do it alone, because otherwise they will say several other things to the spouse who has not come. They will create rift between the two of you. Let me tell you, this world cannot stand a united couple. Cannot stand up to a united couple. So be united and face the world. I'm not saying everything will be sorted, but there will be lesser problems. Okay. All right. Any other comments or questions? Okay. Let me just share one point while you're making up your mind. You may want to ask or say things. When it comes to the marriage time, which is much, more interesting, that is your wedding. All right. At that time, yes, as a girl, as a boy, you have some desires. Let me tell you, most of the time, those desires are not honored. The parents and other relatives do what they want. All right. Express your desires. And if some things are not happening according to your tastes and things like that, let it go. All right. Let it go. If you're able to wear the sari that you want to wear or the gown that you want to wear, if you are able to wear the suit or whatever dress you want to wear, you're able to wear, that's good. All right. Now, don't really insist on every small detail of the wedding. Parents also would have had a dream. I want to do it like this, like this, like this. All right. Allow them to fulfill their desires also to some extent. Okay. So create some room for your parents at the time of wedding. All right. And say, leave these things to us and other things you decide. Something like that you work out. Sometimes I've seen youngsters having big problems, even going after minor things. A wedding card should be like this, not this colors, those colors, not this design, not that design, or the stage arrangement should be like this, not like this. Small things. All right? Create some space for parents also. All right. Any other question or comments? All right. Then, if you do not have, then we can conclude it. And I would like to hand over the time to Eddie.